Welcome to the Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, the bottom falling out edition. First up, some aviation news. You probably heard about the Idaho Air Show where two naval planes crashed into each other. All four, the pilot and all four were able to eject and land safely. Yay. I would share the video of that, but I don't know how to share videos in a way that works effectively, so I can't. Elsewhere in aviation news, an Emirates 777 had to declare Mayday after 17 hours in the air and the inability to land when it was supposed to land in Miami. The weather was bad in Miami. It had to be put into a holding pattern, and then there was an aborted landing because there was another aircraft too close, and blah blah blah. And then finally, the Emirates pilot had to declare Mayday because it was literally running out of fuel. The passengers probably knew nothing about this. But in the world of aviation, it's a really big deal when a 777 has to declare a Mayday. There was some discussion in the aviation Twitter about when's the last time anyone can recall this happening, and there wasn't anything definitive. This is a rare thing to happen. Uh, Changing to Iowa political news, a guy by the name of Zach Lane last week in Iowa, he put out a advertisement that was truly reprehensible, decrying how public schools need to teach values, and it was an insult to everyone who teaches in public schools in Iowa. Well, tonight or this week, it's come out that he has made money selling penis erection rings. Love it. And some other intimate devices. Look, I'm all in favor of selling intimate devices and penis erection rings for those who need it. Yay, whatever. But really, you're talking about, oh, yeah, yeah. Love it. I'm so happy someone finally made this cartoon. It is Donald Trump, the Ayatollah, and Xi playing poker, and it's Trump saying, I got nothing. The Ayatollah saying, I have a straight. The joke I love to make all the time that Trump keeps saying he has the chips, and the Ayatollah says, I have a straight. And then it has Xi saying, well, I'm the one who makes the chips. Love it. If there's anything that comes out of last week's summit in China, it is the fact that Trump abandoned Taiwan. And there's a couple quotes, and I put one up here, where Trump has just made it clear that the United States is no longer going to come to the aid of Taiwan. That, Taiwan is it's 59 miles away from China. It's 9,500 miles away from us. And so Trump abandoning Taiwan is absolutely historic bad foreign policy. And there's just nothing good that can come from this. But that's the only real takeaway from last week's summit. Now, the bottom falling out is due to the fact that the New York Times Siena poll, which was the best poll in 2024, it was one of the best polls in 2020. Even back in 2016, it was the most accurate of the state polls, polling by state, showing that Hillary had a chance of losing back in 2016. In 2024, it was the one that picked up the Hispanic defections that nobody else was picking up. So it's the one that said Trump had the best chance of winning basically in 2024 because Hispanics were defecting from Democrats to Republicans. So it's historically an A-plus pollster. You cannot get better from it. Last week, I said that there was bad news for Trump in a couple of different polls, but it wasn't necessarily good news for Democrats. So yes, Trump is doing bad, but in the generic question of which candidate will you vote for Congress, it wasn't necessarily good news for Democrats. Well, and this new poll by New York Times Siena, it now shows an 11-point lead on congressional candidates who you're going to vote for. That is unprecedented. There's never been an 11-point lead in May of an election year. This is, if this poll is real, Democrats wish the election were today, because this is as bad as it possibly can get. Although I actually think, although I labeled this the bottom falling out, I think it can get even worse, and I think it will. But we'll get over that in the next couple of days and weeks. Um, the bottom has absolutely fallen out for independents and Hispanics. The Trump approval among independents is 69% disapprove, 26% approve. On the generic ballot there, it's an 18-point lead for Democrats, 51-33. And there isn't an issue where Trump is above water. And the same is also true. I didn't put it up, but the same is also true among Hispanics. The floor has fallen, it just absolutely dropped out for them. What is becoming a gerrymander nightmare now for Republicans is that, so in Texas, which led off the Republican push for gerrymandering, they were hoping for a net 5 seats. At best now, they're looking at a net two and arguably maybe even zero. And now there are several seats that were previously Republican plus 13, plus 15, that because they've been gerrymandered in states like Tennessee, so forth, that they're now only plus 8 or 9. And so, Tennessee now has two congressional districts that are competitive that would not have been competitive if Democrats are ahead by 11. Democrats win 3 seats in Tennessee. So where they don't have 3 seats now, like it could actually backfire on Republicans. Please, Lord, please. And so now there are Republicans who are very vulnerable that we're not vulnerable for. Fascinating. Also fascinating from the poll is the support for Israel. So the Democrats have been, over the past couple of years, definitely more pro-Palestinian than Republicans. So this poll shows that by party, Democrats support the Palestinians over Israel 57 to 17. That's pretty strong. And that's not surprising. When you look at the loudest voice arguing against selling weapons to Israel is Bernie Sanders. Our Jewish senator from Vermont is the one leading the charge that we shouldn't be selling arms to Israel because Israel is committing genocide in in Palestine. Republicans remain very steadfast in favor of Israel, and now you have independents that are, fortunately for us, fortunately for my side, they're leaning more towards the Democratic position than the Israeli position. I I am very happy by the outcome of this poll because it there's no way you can sugarcoat this. Speaker Johnson went out yesterday and made a statement that he's expecting to net 5 to 7 seats this fall, and immediately became ridiculed even by fellow Republicans on Twitter because there is no world where Republicans that they can gerrymander all they want. In an environment this hostile, they're not going to gain 5 to 7 seats. It's not going to happen. Um, We've had a couple weeks of bad news. Supreme Court rulings that Supreme Court has definitely sided where they've given all reason out the window. They side with Republicans now with using logic that goes against the logic they use to side against Democrats when it comes to gerrymandering. There's just no question the Supreme Court will tip the scales as much as they can for Republicans. But when you're down by 11 in generic ballot, that is you can't gerrymander your way out of that is the bottom line. And that's the best news that we've had for people on my side in the past 2 weeks. And so, yay, I really needed it. I hope you're well, and I will see you tomorrow.